In this video, we'll show you how to connect your rear derailleur cable and remove any false tension. Before we string our rear derailleur cable, there's two things that we want to do. One, we want to turn the barrel adjuster clockwise all the way into the frame. Once we get there, we want to back this off one full turn, counterclockwise. Second, we want to release the shifter on our right hand side of our bike. We want the rear derailleur to be all the way into the smallest gear of the cassette. Now we're going to connect the rear derailleur cable. There's a small guide at the bottom of the bottom bracket that we fed the cable through. Make sure you do that before you feed it through your rear derailleur cable. There's one final piece of cable housing that needs to go from the last cable stop into the barrel adjuster on the rear derailleur. What we'll do is feed the derailleur cable into the housing. There we go, like so. And then take the cable and feed it through the barrel adjuster and insert the ferrule into the barrel adjuster. And then we'll take this piece of the cable housing and place it into the cable stop. What we'll do then is we'll pull the derailleur cable tight and we'll feed this end of the cable underneath the derailleur cable bolt. And once we've got it in place, when we pull it tight, it's important to notice that the cable goes around the cable guide. Once we get that in place, and then we're going to pull the cable tight and tighten this bolt somewhere between 5 and 7 Newton meters. Now that we have our cable here, we have our torque wrench. We're going to make sure that this is between 5 and 7 Newton meters. And this gets a little tricky. As you torque this bolt, the derailleur will have a tendency to move towards the frame. You kind of have to prevent that from happening by holding it with your hand and then wait for the click on your torque wrench. Before we cut the cable, we want to make sure that we shift through the gears several times. Just like the brake cable, the shift cable has a tendency to stretch. Just turn your pedal and shift through the gears at the back end of the bike. You want to make sure you push it as hard as you can to get any potential stretch out of the cable. We'll go through a couple times and then we'll loosen the bolt on the rear derailleur and retension. Now that we've released any slack tension in our derailleur cable, we're ready to trim the end. Simply take the cutters, leave yourself maybe an inch or an inch and a half, make the cut, and to make sure that the end doesn't fray, we're going to install the end cap like this. Just slide it over the end and use your crimpers to pinch it in place. And now your rear derailleur cable is properly installed.